Good morning, everyone. I have some great projects for you today, and that's why I am late. I have actually two projects for you today. One is a house card, which is wonderful. It's not originally my design, but it is a great card. If you're doing anything house shape related, you can turn it in. I'm using it as like a regular house. It could be a bird house. It could be a dog house. It is a great shape for a card. And then we are also going to make this super cute toolbox. Now this toolbox holds Merci chocolates, and when we're getting into it, I think it could also hold Hershey's Nuggets. I just designed it around Merci. They are these awesome little stick little chocolates, and they are delicious, and I think everyone will love them. This little box holds 6 of them, and it opens up at the front here. It has a little message. It has a little tray, and I put some little tools on top of here. It will be easier to show you later on. But these are all made with the Trusty Toolbox bundle. And of course, cardstock and scoring, some other supplies. But the main ingredient is that. So this is the bundle, Trusty Tools. And it has a lot of dies that go with it, so you can make a lot of masculine cards. And hey, they don't have to be masculine cards either. I'm a very handy girl. I like to, I probably use tools a lot more than my husband does. I love to fix things in the house. And I actually dedicated my blog post today to my dad, who passed away 3 years ago, and he was very inspirational in me and how I fix things. He just was a great role model. He gave me my first tools when I went off to college. He gave me some tools that he knew that I needed. Even just being in a college dorm room, I was like halfway across the country. He couldn't come help me if I needed it. It was like, a big plane ride away, because we're talking about Canada. And so he was very inspirational to me. He taught me a lot of things about tools. And so I just love this, and I think he would have gotten a kick out of it too. So it would be good for Father's Day. It would be good masculine birthday cards. It will be good even for handy girls like myself who like to play with tools. And you don't have to make it in like traditional colors either. This could be a blue toolbox, a pink toolbox, whatever color you want. You can make it whatever you want. That's the nice thing about having paper to play with. You usually have lots of different colors. So this is going to be really fun. And then just let me hold these two up together. Look how cute these are together, right? So this is the house card I was telling you about, and it opens up like this. You may have seen them around. Some people have been doing them lately, and I wish I knew who to give the original credit for this house card to, but I don't know, because there's I traced it, but I just don't know who originated this card. But if you know, let me know, because there are a lot of tutorials out there right now. I did do a few things differently though. I decided to change my paper layers up just a little bit, so my tutorial might be a little bit different than other people. So this is the card, and it heavily relies on this paper, which I've got cut up. This is the Trusty Toolbox paper. The only way to get this paper is by placing at least a $50 order and choosing it as your celebration reward. It's got a lot of tools in it. So right now, for every $50 or $100 you spend with Stampin' Up, you get to choose a reward. And this is one of those rewards. So if you're going to get that that bundle, make sure you pick up some of that matching paper. And the bundle in the US is just over $50, so that would automatically qualify you for reward. So they both work really nicely together. What else can I tell you? Oh, and I do have a host code. So as I'm going through this tutorial, if you see things that you need to buy to make this project, you want to make it, and you want to place that order with me, here's my host code for the month. Please use it. And if you spend at least $50, you will be getting my gift of the month, which are these shiny sequins, and they will be mailed out next month to you, and that will be in March. I always work, you earn and then you get it sent the following month. So just make sure you use the host code and spend $50 to get those. So really a great time of year to get stuff from Stampin' Up! And from me for spending at least $50. But with the Stampin' Up! Reward, it is for every 50 you spend. So if you place a larger order, for every 50 or 100 you spend, you're going to be able to choose a reward. Very great time to place an order. I checked this week. Right now, the Trusty Tools Bundle is still available, but we have a very short spring mini catalog, and the celebration reward only lasts, the paper, that Trusty Toolbox paper only lasts until the end of the month, until the end of February. These should be around past then, but I don't know if they're going to be in the annual catalog. So if they're not, they're going to retire. So if they sell out and they don't have enough time to bring the dies back in from overseas, we might see that these are no longer available. And I have no clue how many there are. There could be lots and there could be not enough. So I'm just saying, if you like the bundle, and you want to do this project, don't assume that it's going to be available all the way until the end of April. Make sure you think about getting it sooner rather than later. Okay. I hate to do that too. Like, I hate to be an alarmist. I wish I could tell you exactly availability. It's just sometimes things will sell out, and then I have customers that are sad that they can't get something, and I just want to kind of put that out there. You know, I don't want to pressure anyone. All right, let's jump in, because since I'm doing two projects, I think we're going to run over my usual hour. So let's pop over to my other camera and let's get started. We'll do the toolbox first, and then we will, afterwards, I will work through that Trusty Toolbox host card. So let me find my other camera. Here we go. These chocolates are so tempting, so don't buy them in advance. Make everything first. Let me fold this together. And you know, this card also, you can, you know, make it a happy birthday card. I'll grab a stamp set alternative for the greetings if you would like that. So, oh, and I will have a project sheet. Here's my project sheet. I haven't shown you yet. I haven't finished it yet, but it will have a diagram. Both the, there's going to be two project sheets for Saturday that will be sent out in your email. And this will be one of them. You will get the toolbox and the house card project sheet. Both of them will have diagrams and instructions. You need to be on my email list to get this project sheet. So look below in the description of this video, or if you're on my blog, there is a links to sign up to my email list, and that's how you will get this. It will be emailed sometime on Saturday. Okay, let me just show you this. Now that we have this on the down thing, we'll just open this up. This is the little tray. My toolbox has a little tray kind of like this, and then I put some tools in here. This will hold 2 Mercy, and then this holds 4 more, so you can fit 6 in this little box right here. So they're very snug as a bug in a rug. And hey, let me just grab these Hershey's Nuggets before I forget. Let's take a quick peek. I haven't opened these yet. I was saving them for another project in the future. Let's have a look and see. So I want to see how many fit in here. 1, 2, 3. So you can get, there you go, there's 3 across. 1, 2, 3. I don't think we'd have room to do, this won't fit in there and then still fit in the box. So if you're gonna do this one, let me pop these guys out. These ones in the tray are very snug just because of the way I designed this. I like to use as whole a measurement as possible, so sometimes that makes things kind of snug. Let's see. Okay, so 3 of these will fit in a tray too. So this one, if you made it as a nugget box, you would just have 6 nuggets in there just for an alternative. And you could even wrap those nuggets in paper if you wanted to. Just so you know, that will also work, and it will work quite nicely. But it is designed originally for Mercy chocolates, and Mercy chocolates are delicious. So they're kind of, I don't know, they're a little step up from your everyday chocolates. Okay, now that I've taken everything out of my box, let's tuck it back in again. 2, 3, 4. We'll stick one of these in. I'm just trying to see. We'll stick one of these up. This one, I like to stick, come on, here we go. Stick one up and then one down because they fit in a little bit better. This is just very snug tray, but it all fits. And then you just add that onto here. But in the meantime, you grab your little tools, because that kind of makes it special, right? And you're just gonna feed those tools in the little tray, and then we'll stick it in here, tuck it down in here, and there you have your little teeny tiny toolbox of fun. All right, okay, let's see. Oh, Lori asked me a question. When you have a chance, could you measure the Mercy bars? They look smaller than the ones here in Canada. I'm pretty sure these are the same. But let's take a little measure, Lori, before I get going on here. Because you know me, I actually... There's a story of my sister and I and how we always leave ourselves like one Mercy chocolate. This started around the time when we were taking care of my mom and she was sick. And anyway, so I've had experience with Mercy chocolates. So this measures 3 inches by, I would say, just a little, maybe 3/4 of an inch, maybe if I measure the bottom, 3/4. 3 inches by 3/4 inches wide, and depth is about 3/8 of an inch. So that's for you, Lori. I do believe they are the same size, but you can check. You can check, Lori, and let me know if they are the same size. That would be interesting. Okay, so let's get started. We're gonna bring out our scoring board because I love using it. And we'll start off with a piece of Poppy Parade cardstock. And this piece is going to measure 6.5 by 6 1/8. You have to kind of double check. Okay, so this is the 6 1/8 inch side and this is the 6.5 inch side. So let's pop that up there, and I have lost my scoring tool. I will grab one. You know, the other day I lost my second scoring tool that I have out. I don't know where I put it. So now I'm between workstations. I'm like running back and forth. Okay. I have the 6.5 inch side up here at the top, and I'm going to score this at the 1.5 inch mark, the 3 inch mark, the 4.5 inch mark, and the 6 inch mark. I'm just double checking my measurements because I don't want to get them wrong. Then I'm going to turn this. It doesn't matter which side you're turning it to, because this is, oh, actually it does matter which side you're going to turn it to, because I'll have to do an extra score thing. So see the smaller segment up here? Let's keep that up at the top, okay? And then we're going to score this at the oops, I'm not standing up. If that ever happens to you, like you kind of skip rows, stand up and stand right behind it. 1.5 and 4 5/8. Now we're going to do something. We're going to score just down to this first score line. This is actually just, we're actually not even going to use those score lines, but they're just going to be little marks for me so I know how to cut up that top area. So we're going to score down to, at the 1 inch mark, we're going to score down to that first score line. And then also at the 5 1/8 inch mark, we're going to score down. So I don't know if you can see this. Let me bring this up. You can see it's created a little square there and there. You will have a diagram on your project sheet, and you will be able to see probably what I'm talking about. What I really am marking on here, let me grab a pencil mark. What I really want to mark on here, this is my important thing right here. Since I can score really quickly and easily down, and this will make it very precise, what I want is I want that little, where that little pencil mark is, I'm just marking 1/2 inch away from here and 1/2 inch away from here. And I need it on that score line right there. So that is why I'm doing that score line. It actually doesn't technically need to be there, but it's easier to do that than it is to, measure 1/2 inch over. I mean, I could have done that as well, but basically that's what that little mark is for. Okay, moving along. Now you can do this with a paper trimmer, or you can do this with scissors, but you're going to come on this long side right here. Ooh, let me see if I can show you. Okay, that's kind of good. You can kind of see you've got 4 squares and then the smaller segment. You want that up at the top of your paper trimmer, or you can use scissors. We're going to line up this first score line, and we're going to cut, lift this, and we're going to cut to the edge here. We're just going to cut to that first score intersection, leaving this intact. Bring your scoring blade down, line it up with this score line, and cut like this. So you can do this also with scissors. We're cutting into both of the long sides, and we're going to do that for all of these segments. Okay, so just go ahead, cut, lift, come down here and cut. That little goofball score line that I made, I don't know if you can see it, I skipped a line right there. That's going to be hidden, thankfully. It really is better to score standing up because you can really keep that pressure even. So I was scoring sitting down. Normally I'm standing up at my workstation when I'm scoring, so sometimes I forget. This one, it might be easier. You can flip your piece around, but just as long as you can get this lined up on your groove right here, we're going to also cut from here to here. I'm just telling you it's easier if, let me lift this up. If you flip your cardstock at this point, I'll show you what you mean. I mean, sometimes it's easier to flip it over to this side because you've got this big long piece to kind of keep your cardstock straight rather than having it kind of falling off the edge and you don't have as much stuff here to line up. So you can always flip that. All of this can be done with scissors. So you see, I've got all of these. They're all cut. All right, so now we need to do one more thing to prep this top area before we can bring everything together. So you remember those extra score lines that I made, that last little bit, where we're going to use those now to, we're going to cut, I'm going to draw them on here. So you can see what I'm doing before I'm doing it. I'll draw it on here so it's very obvious. That is what we're going to do. We're going to cut away this piece and this piece. We're doing these angle cuts, and this is what builds the lid of the box. And this I will do with scissors, because it would be hard to do this with a cutter. Okay, so you can see I'm cutting away this and this and this and this. So I start right here and I will cut to where that score line, or where I put that pencil mark, like that, and that will fall away. And then I'll cut along here to that score intersection right there. Okay, and you make sure we did all the cuts along here. This would have had to been cut all the way through to here. So, but I will show you that on my diagram. And then we'll do the same thing for the other side. We're gonna cut like that, and then line my scissors up and cut like that. All right, it's taking shape. So now we need to fold this piece along all the score lines. I'm going to just kind of preliminary fold everything, and then we'll come in with our bone folder and just give it a little bit of a press. Okay. This just really reinforces that score line and it helps it so that it will be square afterwards. This one right here, we're coming in on a very narrow angle, so just try and get as much of that corner down as possible, like that. And this little corner right here. Right here, I noticed I could probably erase some of those pencil lines, and then these ones right here, fold those, and these ones right here, fold those. Let me grab an eraser. You want to make sure you have a white eraser, and if there's any black marking on it, I just kind of erase some of that off, because sometimes that will actually transfer to your project. So I just kind of make sure I have a clean part of the white, and then I'll just kind of see if there's anything, that pencil line that I did to better illustrate. I'm just going to give that a little rub. Okay. We are ready to bring this together. Let's grab our glue. So this lid is held together by these teeny tiny triangles right here. They're very, very small. So I need to put the glue on this outside, and then this is going to glue up like this. So I'm going to fold both of these in and grab a bit of glue, and I want to spread it so it's all over that little tiny triangle, but I don't want to use like massive amounts. I just kind of want to make sure it's on the entire triangle. If you get too much glue, if it's a big blob of glue, then maybe that's about good. Maybe scrape a little bit of it off with another piece of cardstock. And I'm just going to bring those together. And it's kind of important that you do a nice job of getting that about as square as possible. That score line should line up with the end right there and right there. And I would really just take a moment and just make sure it is kind of nice and it's stuck together. Okay, so that's what the lid's gonna look like. It's a little bit of an angled lid. That's the front. Okay, so now we're going to glue the box part, the toolbox part. So the way I'm gonna do that is I'm gonna fold these ones in that are closest to the lid, and I'm going to just put glue and glue here. These are on the back of the tabs, and then I'm going to adhere them to the middle tab. And keeping these big and square, I could have cut them a little shorter, but by keeping them big and square, what this does is it gives a little bit of strength to your box. Okay. And then these last ones are going to glue this way. So we'll put glue here and here. And we'll bring this in and just take a moment and make sure everything is coming together nicely. Give it a little squeeze. All right, and then this should tuck in like that. And it does hold pretty well because it does have a little bit of, you know, it's sticking on the edges right there. Okay, there's a little toolbox. All right, I need to create a little handle for the top of the toolbox, so let's do that real quick. We'll bring in our scoring tool again, and we're going to take a little piece of black cardstock. This one measures 2 3/4 by 3/8 of an inch, and we will score this one at the 3/8 and 3/4 inch marks. I'm going to use my small ball this time. So 3/8 and 3/4. Turn it to the other side and do 3/8 and 3/4. I don't know if we can see those score lines. Kind of. We've got kind of two little boxes on either, two little squares on either end now. And then we'll fold this into our little handle shape. And we'll add it to the top. We're just going to put glue on here and on here. So you just want to make sure when you add this that it looks somewhat square. Like this. Maybe maybe just hold it down for a few seconds. Use my little pinkies. All right, that looks pretty good. And there is your little handle for the top of the box. Later on, we will add a couple of little bolts here, and we'll add this little piece to the front to give it the look of a latch, but we'll do that at the very end. I want to get through all the scored pieces first. All right, now we're going to build this tray for the inside. You don't have to do this if you don't want to. This is just a little extra piece. So, you know, if this little thing is going to like make you go over the wall, this will still look really nice if you just stack 6 Merci in there, and it will still look wonderful. So, but I want to show you how to make that, because that's just the little tiny extra thing that will look nice. I've got a piece of smoky slate right here. This one measures 4 inches by 2 7/16. Yes, I know it is a 16th inch mark. So 2 7/16 is just 1/16 less than 2.5. So go to the 2.5 inch mark and go just a little bit smaller, and that is 2 7/16. Okay, so 4 and 2 7/16, and we are going to score this one at the 1/2 inch mark on all 4 sides. Okay, then we're going to have one of the long sides facing us, and we're just going to snip until the first score intersection. Okay, and we'll do that on both that side and this side. We're creating that little tray so you can see. And now we'll fold this along the score lines. All right, let's bend this over like this and then fold, 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 and one last one, and fold. Okay, the other thing you can do to make this piece come together a little easier, could have done this before folding it, but just angle cut each of these little tabs. Just a little bit on the inside and a little bit on the outside, just teeny tiny snips, because these tabs are also super small. Oh, I see my friend Janie is here, or Jane, I should say. I've always wanted to call her name Janie because that's what it looks like, but Jane is here, and Jane just signed on as one of our newest team members on the Bee Stampers team yesterday. That's so exciting. And so I'm glad that she's on my team now. We do, as a team, we do team stamping nights. We have a team meeting. Those are both 2 different nights a month that we get together, and we have a Facebook group, and you get a discount on your Stampin' Up! Products. If you, I'm just going to put this up top here. If you're interested in joining my team, let me see. There's, you go to my blog, cubiesquest.com/join. You can find out about the starter kit. We have a special right now, and it's great. You have 2 options. One of the options is the Glass Mat Studio add-on, and the other option is you get $30 extra in your starter kit. It's a really great deal. But anyway, I will just pop that back off so everyone can see what I'm doing, but I'm just occasionally glancing over to all the comments. I will get to them all at the end. And if you have any questions along the way, I will try and answer them at the end as well. Okay, so I've got my little tray ready, and we need to put a handle in in here, on here, because this is snug as a bug in a rug, and it would be very hard once you stick it down here to get it out. It does need a handle. So we'll do that real quick. I've got myself a piece of smoky slate to match my little tray. And let me double check the measurements. This piece is a 4.5 by 3/8 of an inch. And we're gonna score this at the 3/4 inch mark on both ends. 3/4 and 3/4. So it looks like this. I don't know if I can turn it so you can see both score marks, and we'll just fold it, and this is what it looks like. Now this little piece is a teeny tiny bit flimsy because we're gonna have to pull on it quite hard to get it out. So I'm gonna reinforce it a little bit with 2 extra pieces of cardstock. I've got them right here. These measure 3 inches by 3/8. So first I'm gonna glue the 2 of them together, back to back. And don't forget, these measurements will be on your project sheet tomorrow, so if you miss any of these sizes, don't stress out. Or you can go back to the video, but I will have them on there. And this, okay, I think this fits pretty well. If you overcut and it's a little bit, the handle doesn't bend nicely when you've cut it 3 inches, maybe you're just a little too tall. If that happens, just take this and snip this down just a teeny tiny bit so that it fits. You want it to go on the bottom side of your handle. So this extra piece is going on the bottom, okay? So we'll take this piece now and we're gonna add this to the underside. And just kind of give it a little press. So that will just add like a little bit of strength to the handle. It still will bend a little bit when you pull it out, but it's going to be a little bit stronger and hold its shape a little bit better. Okay. Remember, this is paper crafting, not, we're not going to drive a car over it or anything. So, you know, people have to realize this is paper. And you can build strength into things, but you have to decide at what point is it overkill. And I think just adding just a little bit of reinforcement is good at this point, but it doesn't have to go over the top. Okay, so I'm just gluing this to the inside of the tray. Then we'll come around here and glue this one to the other inside of the tray. And it should fit pretty well. Before you stick this in your project, just make sure the glue is dry. Use a glue. Tombo's like the best glue for paper crafting. It really holds 3D projects together super well. So don't skimp on your glue. This bottle lasts a good long time. Tombow is wonderful. So, and I know I've been using it. I use it on my cards. It is my most used adhesive. I love it. Love, love, love it. Okay, so we need to add some little decorations to here because right now this is looking a little bit plain. So let's give it a little bit of little wow factor here. Okay, so we need some silver embellishments. I've got, pull this out real quick. Everything is sticking together in this massive pile. This is the Holographic Trio Specialty Paper. There's also this purpley paper. I just use one of the silver colors. This is good for other things, or it may even look good on your toolbox. But the silver is just wonderful. You get 2 sheets of each paper in that pack. So we're going to do some stamping and bringing together of the tools. I want to show you how to do this because not everyone is a Stampin' Up! Expert. Some of you are, of course, but some of you might be new, so I want to show how to stamp things too. Now, my basket of stamps is underneath everything, absolutely everything. Okay. Oh boy. When you do 2 projects at one time, it gets a little crazy on the desk here. Okay, so I've got this, I don't even know what this is. It's some type of wrench or something like that. Here we go. Maybe someone else knows the proper name for that. My dad was German originally and immigrated to Canada. So I don't know if we always had the correct names of all the tools. I want to stamp, I'm stamping each of these in both a color and smoky slate because we're going to bring them together to make a 2-tone thing. So we're going to stamp each of these. I'm using, this color is called Pebbled Path. It is one of our new in colors. And let's grab this guy right here. I debated about whether or not to, just skip ahead and not show you this, but I think sometimes it's good to see all the intricacies of the project. So, okay, I've got all of these ready to go for die cutting. What else do I need? I think that's it for die cutting. I'll just skip this away for a moment. And I'm going to bring in my mini machine. My mini machine is a little bit on the tight side, so I always use my gray plate instead of my white plate. The gray plate's a little thinner. Just depends on your machine. The white is the one that they originally recommend to go with it, but I just always use the gray one and it works brilliantly. Okay, so let's go ahead and die cut these. I've got a little bit of Post-it note tape. I'm going to use that. And go ahead and die cut this one. What I might do is I just might do one of the tools and you can kind of see how I put them together, and then we'll keep moving along because it will take me a little while to die cut all of these, especially on the mini machine. So on the bigger machine, and if I had a little bit more time, I can line up all of these on here and then, just go ahead and die cut more than one at a time. But let me just show you. So these two will go together. I'll show you how that goes in a moment. We'll leave the other tools for another time. And let me grab, I want to grab these. These are both little pieces of the holographic paper. And I want to show you something. I needed a latch for the front. This is the part of the drill. Here is the bit. If you cut the bit off, it looks a bit like a latch. So I'm just gonna I can just kind of maybe pin this down here. You can cut the whole thing and then cut off the bit, that will work. Or you can go ahead and just put it right on the edge and it will cut that bit right off. And I'm going to run through this little guy. This has the little nuts and bolts on it. And we'll just run this through real quick. We need 2 of those little bolts, so I'm going to run that through one more time. But first of all, I'll show you. This is that little latch that it kind of creates for the front. So that's just a little trick to if you need a little latch. Then we've got these little pieces here. I'm going to scrape those off onto my work surface. And then we'll run this through one more time because we need 2 little bolts for the top. Run that through. Okay. And scrape those back off. All right. And you know, I'm not using all of these little pieces, so sometimes what I do, like if I die cut a bunch of these pieces and I think that I might use them on a different card, I'll put them in a little bag inside my case, and then I can always have a few ready for the next time because you might not always use the same pieces each time. So I'm going to use these teeny tiny bolts. Let me get rid of that the little center dot. So we'll just add a little bit of Tombow around there. I'll just pop that onto the end right there. And then we'll do the same thing for here. I just squeeze a tiny bit of glue and then I spread it around with my nozzle. Just kind of get that positioned. I could have put these bolts on before I added the handle to the top of the box. That might have been a little easier. And then we'll take this piece and we're just going to put adhesive right on the top because this bottom piece is going to hang down. So we don't want glue kind of just hanging out there in the open. And we'll just add this centered and right close to the top. It's amazing how much it looks like an actual latch. Okay, and look at that holographic. It kind of is kind of fun to see that. All right, these little guys, I'm gonna scoot them off here, pop them over there, save them for another project. So for these, what I'm gonna do is I keep the gray one that I cut is going to stay whole, and the handle is not. So I'm gonna cut off what would be the metallic part. And you could also do this with metallic, but you lose some of the detail. Like this is the die for the metallic, and it doesn't have a lot of detail on it. So I actually I tried a bunch of different things. I actually like the look of the smoky slate and the colored coming together. And then it really has a lot of detail on there. And then this can sit right on top of your box. And you can do that. There's lots of different tools in here, and most of them will fit. Like this drill will not fit. This wrench will. The tape measure. This is some pliers, I think. So, you know, you can add different tools, whatever you want. I just did 3 of them, and I think most of them will fit except for the drill, because like the hammer is quite long and it even fits in here. So you can kind of see some of the tools that I made. Right. So there's one last thing that I did for, oops, it's off camera here. The one last thing I did right here is I did this little tiny greeting. So I need a little piece. I cut this off camera here because I've got too much on top of my trimmer. So I've got a little piece. This is 3 inches by 3/4 of an inch. And I'm going to bring in this Happy Labels Pick-a-Punch. We'll open it up and we'll slide it along that 3/4 inch slot. Might be a little bit bigger than 3/4 of an inch, but it's bowing, so it will kind of fit in there. We'll slide it back in. I'm using this one with all the little scallops on the end. I thought that would look nice for our toolbox. Come here. All right. So then we're going to grab our greeting. And this one says you're the most awesome, but you can stamp whatever you want. But you're the most awesome would work for a lot of different occasions, right? So it's not necessarily Father's Day or anything like that. Then I'm just going to stamp this somewhat centered on here. This is a pebbled path. Oh, let's keep this out. I'm going to grab this, and I've got my teeny tiny stamp. I'm going to just ink this up and stamp it off, and then stamp it on the end right here, just to add a little bit of extra. And it doesn't have to be perfect or be completely on there. And let's close this up. And then we'll just open up the box and we'll add this to the lid of the box. I'm using white here because it will really pop the greeting. Just try and get it centered. It's just the perfect greeting to put on the inside, right? All right, let's grab some chocolates. Yum, yum. I don't get to eat them. I just get to put them in the box though, so maybe not as exciting. Oh. Let's put a couple down here. I'll put a couple here. Okay, so far we've got 4 in there. We'll grab our little tray and we'll grab 2 more. And we'll just scooch in here. Now remember, this tray is a little teeny tiny bit tight, so by design, because it needs to fit inside where we're going. Okay, so whoa, whoa, whoa. You know what? It's stuck on the little handle piece. I'm going to stick it in this way. There we go. And then we'll stick this one in, and we're going in the opposite direction. Okay, so one is facing up and one is facing down. The cool thing about Merci is it wraps to the back and still looks nice, so it won't really notice that much. We'll put your tool in there, and then we'll scoot this down into the box. Voila! And it's so, so cool. And then we just close it up like that. Such a cool toolbox. Now, I don't think that you can use this handle to hold up the box. So this is not for grabbing. You wanna because this is gonna pull up the top of the box, right? So you kind of just, that is the one thing that won't work quite as well. This box does have a lot of weight to it. I had to make some allowances because I wanted this to kind of open like a regular toolbox. So that's what we got. So there are my two little cute little toolboxes. Aren't they so sweet? All right, let's move on to the card. And I want to show you before I forget. This is Father's Day. And then this one I did Happy Birthday. Same colors. Let me grab that stamp set real quick. Just want to show you, this is not on my supply list, so my supply list was getting really long, so I didn't want to keep going. But if you're looking for that Happy Birthday, it's from the Biggest Wish stamp set, and that is item number 155052. So if you'd rather turn this into something different, you've got lots of little greetings in here. Actually, they're not that little, they're nice and big. That's why it's called Biggest Wish. And so you could turn it also into a happy birthday card. It has kind of the same impact as the Happy Father's Day card. All right, let's make this. All right, put this aside. Okay. Come on down. This one I didn't get the project sheet done at all, so we're gonna have to go by my notes. We will need the paper trimmer. Let's scoot this out. This project actually does use the paper trimmer. It makes it a little easier if you use the paper trimmer than anything else. We are starting off with a piece of cardstock that is 11 inches by 5.5. We're going to put, let me think how I was trying to think the best way to illustrate this. We're going to do the top long side up at the top, one of the 11-inch sides up at the top, and we're going to line it up with the 3.5-inch mark right there. Okay, so long side at the top. Line your left side up with a 3.5-inch mark. Going to put the cutting blade away for now. Okay, so you just have to make sure you're not going to cut. We're going to use the scoring blade this time. Bring your scoring blade here. I've got my ruler. I put a little piece of white sticker under my ruler so I could see it better, but you want to find where the 3.5-inch mark is here, because basically what we're creating is a square, or scoring a square. So put that at the 3.5-inch mark, and we're going to score right there. So we're only scoring from the 3.5 over. Then we're going to put this over. We need to extend this ruler. Wow, we're gonna run out of room here. All right, we're gonna move over to the 7.5-inch mark over here. And then we're going to move this back to the 3.5-inch, the scoring. Remember, we're scoring, not cutting, to the 3.5. And we're gonna do another score line. So at this point, we've got two score lines, which you can barely see. Let me grab this. So I want to show you what we just did. This is what we are going to create, okay? We just scored this line and this line right here, okay? Now we're going to turn this piece so that, actually we're going to turn it like this in the scoring, in the trimmer. Okay, so we're going to turn it so that those lines, we're going to turn it to the left. So the lines that we just scored are coming off the edge right here. Okay, this is kind of important because if you turn it the wrong way, you're not going to be scoring squares. We need to create a square here and a square here. So those score lines, you see how they're coming off the edge? they're going to be on this side here, okay? So line this up again at the 3.5 inch mark. And again, we're going to bring this blade down to 3.5, and we're going to score up to the top. So now we've created this, okay? Then keep your left side at the 3.5, right here, lined up. And now we're going to bring the blade down to 7.5. Okay, and then we're going to, oh, it's coming off the edge here. Sorry, I'm running out of room here. This is at the 7.5, and then we're going to score down off the end. Okay, so what we've done now is, you can barely see it, but we've scored a square here and a square here, which corresponds to here, square here, and square here. Now we're going to do the diagonals. And the interesting thing with the diagonal, this is one long diagonal and this is one long diagonal. So it looks more complicated than it really is. Okay, we're going to come up to the top right here. And the squares now are down here at the bottom. Here's a square, and we're going to make a mark here. Line this up at the 5.5 inch mark. This is the long side up at the top with the squares now at the bottom. You can, let's take a pencil. Where's my pencil? Aha. You can take a pencil, or my pencil doesn't fit. So we're gonna take my scoring blade and we're just gonna make a little indent right at the 5.5 inch mark. And let me see. It's so hard to see this. Let's close this up. Let's grab my ruler. So 5.5. Just make sure this is lined up. 5.5 inch mark. Okay, you can kind of see it right up there. And on here, it would be right there. This length is 11 inches, so we're breaking it in half at the 5.5 inch mark right there. And now what we're going to do is we're going to score from that mark down to that corner. It will bisect this corner here. And then we're going to score from here down to this corner, and it will also bisect this corner right here. So it is easiest to do this right on your trimmer. So just line this up. The corner, sorry that this is off the screen. Let me see if I can move it up as far as possible. Okay, so I've got my dot right here, corner, dot. See that it looks like it's lining up. Then you can close this. Then you're going to double check to make sure your dot, your pencil mark's still there, and that your corner is still right in that score groove. And then you're going to score right down. And I'm going to go back up for good measure. Don't know if you can see that, but I just scored that all the way down, and we'll do the same thing for the other side. Just line it up, close this up, and then double check. I see my pencil mark right there. I see my other side right here, and then we're gonna score. And now the piece is scored, and it's very difficult to see it. So I'm gonna hold this one up. This is what it looks like once it is scored. That is it. And that is, I did this with my team, and I said to them, and this is the hardest part of the card is done. But now we have to do the paper as well. So that can also take just a little bit of thinking, but I'm gonna have a diagram for you. So hopefully that will help a lot. So I've got my house shape that looks like here and here, kind of facing like this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to first just kind of bring the side of the house in and the side of the house in. And then I'm going to do the roof of the house in. Okay, because this is going to be folded in an opposite direction. So we're just going to kind of do it bit by bit. And first we're going to outline the house with a fold, with kind of a valley fold, okay? And then this one right here, this angle right here is going to come in like this. And this one's going to, these two are mountain folds. So I'm just getting them kind of started. And then this one is going to be a valley again. So I guess we've got all valleys and 1 and 2 mountains, okay? So if you remember that, then you've kind of got your whole piece started, and then you're gonna bring this one in, smooth it down with your bone folder, and then bring this one in, and then bring that along. Okay. And then this one, let's unfold this side and we'll bring this one and this one and then this one. And then these two, they kind of fold over like that. Okay. So let's unfold this, and now I'm going to show you how to create designer series paper layers with that beautiful celebration paper. So let's grab my little pile of paper, wherever it went. Okay. So if you have up-down patterns in your paper, you're going to need to pay attention, because if you don't want your pattern to go sideways on you, you're going to need to look at this. So trying to decide what is best to do. My paper, some of my paper does not have an up-down pattern to it. That's the easiest scenario, okay? If you don't have an up-down paper, if you have an all-over pattern, that doesn't matter, then that is easier. So if these ones are gonna go up top here like this. So if it has a definite up-down pattern, you're gonna wanna cut it so that the long side faces up or down. And I'll just give you the measurements real quick. These ones right here measure 5 1/8 by 1 3/4. 5 1/8 by 1 3/4. So what we're gonna do, just lay them out here for a moment, and we'll grab our ruler. And these ones, these are 1 3/4 inches wide, and we're going to also measure 1 3/4 inches over and make a little dot. Okay, so this angle right here, you're going to cut from this corner to right here. So I'll just draw this out right here. And you want to make sure you lay out your pattern that you want up at the top. Okay, so when we cut this, this is now going to fit along this angle right here. Okay, so I've drawn that in, and it looks like this. So to get both of these angles cut correctly at the same time, we're going to put the two back patterns together like this. Okay, so back to back, and then we can cut along this line. Remember, I've come down 1 3/4 of an inch and just made a little line right here so it follows along that line. And then we're going to cut this right along there. We're going to do both of these. They're laid back to back, and voila, both of those will now work, and you'll be able to put those into place. Okay, so we're going to do the same thing. Actually, if you want to, let's go ahead, let's glue these down right away so they don't go anywhere. Just glue them, and there will be an edge all the way around, okay? All right, so we've got those first ones on there. Now let's do the ones on the front. So these ones, I also chose a pattern that didn't have an up-down pattern, but if you were cutting these ones and you would want to make sure that the short side or the bottom side, your pattern was going like this for these ones, okay? This is the pattern that I want on the top. These pieces measure the same as the ones I just cut. So they are 1 3/4 by 5 1/8. And we're going to see, now I want to represent this angle. So we're going to put the pencil mark on this side right here. And it's going to come down. And we're going to do 1 3/4 inches again. And I'll make myself a little pencil line to that opposite corner. And you just want to double check, lay it right on there, okay? And see, oh yeah, that's the correct pattern on top. There's my pencil line. It's going in the right direction. Great. Okay, I need to see this pencil line in order to cut it. So we're going to put these sides together, okay? The back side together, and then we're going to just cut along that line, and we're going to create two pieces right at the same time. So they're going to go on here, but it's going to end up on the back. It's easier to do this flat, so let's just go ahead and do this. Add this on here. Remember, this is gonna have, it's gonna have about 1/8 of an inch all the way around. All right. Okay, so we've got 4 panels on there. Now let's deal with these little squares. So these are going to go right here. If you have a definite up-down pattern on these, so this one, the tools are facing all different directions, so it's not super important. But if there's a tool, like say I want this one facing up, then I'm going to just make myself a little mark. These squares measure 3 1/8 by 3 1/8. So I'm going to make myself a little mark here and a little mark here. And now I know I'm going to cut this one this way. And this one, I think I'm going to leave it like it's sitting as well. This angle is going in the opposite direction. So I'm going to put a pencil mark here and a pencil mark here to remind myself to cut in that direction. Then I'm going to take my trimmer, get rid of the scoring blade this time. We're going to line this up on the cutting, and we'll cut. We'll place these over here. Remember, you've got yourself things marked, so you know that you're going to be cutting in the correct direction. And then we'll come back here. And we'll just add these. Make sure you haven't twisted them in the meantime, but you know, you don't want to do this then. But it only will go on here 2 ways if you want this pattern on top. So then you're just going to add this on here. Again, it's going to have about the same distance on all 3 sides because this is a triangle. And then we'll kind of scoot this over here. Oh, I have to tell you guys, I am very close to having 29,000 subscribers on my YouTube. Not 29, 23,000 subscribers, I think. 23. I'm very close to the next 1,000 milestone. Anyway, so if you haven't already subscribed to my channel, please do so. It's not 29,000. I'm not at 30,000 yet. I think I'm close to 23,000. So I want to try and get there maybe within the next week, maybe by next week. So if you see this and you aren't one of my subscribers and you want to boost me up to that next level, I always keep an eye on it, and it's kind of fun to see the numbers go up each week. Makes me happy. All right. Okay, I think I could have brought this one down a bit. I'm pushing it. Okay. All right, so we've got almost all of them on here. And then we need to do this one right here. And this one, this is the middle piece. This is going to be house shaped. So this piece measures 3 3/4 by 5 1/8. So at one of the 3 3/4 inches sides, we're going to measure over 1 7/8. Right? Yes, 1 7/8 right here. And then on either side, we're also going to go down 1 7/8 just to keep it nice and easy. Remember this, 1 7/8 and 1 7/8. So let me just line that up and right there. So now I'm going to draw these lines in so you can kind of see what I'm doing. Okay. So I measured over 1 7/8 at the top, or the short side, and then down 1 7/8 and down 1 7/8. And then this is where I'm going to cut along. So I'm just going to line this up in my trimmer. You could also use paper snips, but this is a little bit longer of a length, so you know, it helps to have a nice straight cut. I do love using my trimmer. Okay. So before you glue this in, you might want to stamp it in case you stamp your words crooked or not very nicely. You can go ahead and do that. I'm going to grab, I have the stamp somewhere here underneath, a whole lot of stuff. 2 projects always take a little while. Okay, so I've got Happy Father's Day and Dad. Let me see. Okay, I'm going to use 2 different colors, and they are in my pile here, Wild Wheat and Copper Clay. And the card base is Copper Clay. I don't know if I mentioned that. We'll start off with stamping Dad and Wild Wheat. This is my surprise, one of my surprise favorite colors. It's kind of like a muddy yellow. It was very nice in fall. It's one of our in colors, which will be around for another year. And then I've got Happy Father's Day. I'm going to scoot that right underneath like that. So nice to do it maybe in 2 tones, but you don't have to. Or do Happy Birthday. It's, you know, whatever you want, or it doesn't have to be a masculine card, but then that will just get glued down on the inside. Okay, and then we need to do a little belly band for the outside, and I did not cut that ahead of time. I just realized that right now. So I'm gonna double check my measurements. 1.5 by 11 inches. Let's see. Grab. I like to use one of these fun tool patterns to wrap around. So we're going to move this over to the 1.5 inch mark and give this a cut and come around here. We will cut off, I'm going to cut off 1 inch just to start off with. Let's see in the end how much more I cut off. What you're going to do, fold these in. You're going to wrap this, you're going to come over maybe about 3/4 of an inch past the center mark here. And you're going to just start wrapping. And you want this to be like not super loose, but not snug. I told my team when we were making this card, think of yourself at Thanksgiving dinner. You want it to be, you don't want to, like, after you've had dinner, like, it's super tight on your belly. You don't want your belt to be super tight. So I'm going to just kind of come over here and just, I'm cutting off this much, because I'm going to just kind of overlap both of these, and I'm going to put like a label over top of here. So how much did I cut off here? I cut off, you know what? You could probably do, this is about 7/8 of an inch. You could probably do 10 inches by 1.5 would work really nicely. So you kind of see where it overlapped. So we're just going to put some Tombow, come on, Tombow, right here. And then we're going to overlap these two pieces. Remember, don't tighten it a lot. This card really truly does need a belly band to hold it shut. There's a lot of spring to it, so I probably could have gone a little bit tighter. Just, you know, you can kind of see where you're at, but that looks pretty good. All right, I need this scrap piece, and all right, I don't know what happened with my other punch. I've got this like ginormous pack of everything on my table. Let me see if I have, I didn't even pull it. Okay, so we're gonna grab this punch. This is the, oh, someone help me. It is, I'm gonna just really quickly look. This is the decorative circle punch. All right, and then we're going to decide by looking at my other one. There are, I think it's pretty symmetrical, is it? I'm trying to decide. I think I did it this way. Yeah. I don't know that this is 100%. It's symmetrical from side to side, but I'm just wondering. I know, I'm going to line this up and see. See which bumps were up at the top. Okay, so this is how I have it aligned, like this. All right, now I need to find, this is my awesome stamp. I need to clean this off because I used a different color ink earlier. My chamois I left in the kitchen to get it wet for today, so, oh my gosh. All right, I'm glad you guys are still with me. This is a long tutorial because we're doing a lot of stamping. So you're just gonna wanna stamp this somewhat in the center. And then we're going to come in with Smoky Slate. And we're going to add some tools. my little stamp with the tools is somewhere here. It is here. Okay. You should see what's off camera. It is, my whole desk is like now become consumed with all of this stuff. So I just added some nuts and bolts and things like that on there. And then we're going to add this to here. And when we do that, I'm going to keep the glue between these 3 bumps, not up at the top. So I'll just show you. I'm going to keep it in the center because I don't want to stick it to my card. I just want to stick it to my belly band. And we'll just add that on there. The belly band looks nice on the back as well. And then I need to find in my embellishments, these guys. The rustic metallic back dots look really nice on here. And I'm just gonna grab, push this down, a big dot and a little dot. Where am I gonna put you? Right there. And that just kind of adds like a little bit of character to the front, some little doodads. And that is all there is to this card. It is not a hard card. It just uses a lot of layers of designer series paper. That's really all the work. Once you understand how to score this piece, it's not going to be hard. I'm going to have a diagram for you, and hopefully I'll be able to show you how those designer series paper pieces come together and give you a little reminder that you need to, before you cut your paper, either choose the easy button by not having a definite up-down pattern, which I think, you know, most of these are good for that. But you might be doing this house card for a different occasion with a different paper that has an up-down pattern. So that's one of the major considerations that you have to have when you're doing that and bringing all of these together. And then, of course, there is the very, very cute Toolbox, which I hope some of you will make and let me know how they turned out. Nuggets or Merci chocolates would work very nicely in here. All right, I'm gonna come back over to you guys. I'm sorry it went so long, but that's like 2 really great projects in one, and I wanted to show you how to make it from start to finish. The project sheet is gonna help you make those projects a little faster. So you'll have all the measurements ready and set to go. Just one more reminder, that's my host code for the month. If you're placing an order of $50 or more, please use that, and then you will get the shiny sequins embellishments. Now, I do want to point out, if you are placing a very large order of $150 or more, do not use that host code. Take it off, and you can get your own rewards. But if you're under 150, you don't get any rewards. So that's when I would love for you to use this host code so that I can send you the gift. But you will get the gift if your order is over $150 too, and you don't need to use the host code. All right, I'm popping this away. And Stampin' Up! Has celebration rewards for you too, so it's a very good month to place an order. All right, I see lots of comments. I am going to, I'm not going to say hello to everyone this morning because we're running super, super late. We're already at the 1.5 hour mark. 1.5 hour mark. I was going to say inches. So I'm going to just skip through and see if there's any questions. And if there's any thing that I need to, people are loving the project. Oh, thank you. Yeah, Marty says the Toolbox would have been perfect for her husband. I know. It's so sad that we've lost some of our family members that would have loved this, right? But there's always someone in our lives that could use this, right? Um, let's see. Marty also says, don't forget to give me a thumbs up. Thank you. Pat says, when you go to stamp Valentine's, before you stamp, take a piece of tape and cover over the V, and then you can put a G for Galentine's. Oh, I love that. That's very cute. Very nice idea. So many people here today. Thank you for joining me. I really appreciate it. I'm just scanning to see if there's any questions. Laura says this will be her Father's Day project for her husband and son this year. Awesome. Marty says, you know, when you open up a box of chocolates, you always have to taste one. Yes, you do. It is about quality control, right? We don't want to send off bad chocolates to anyone. Let's just take a look. Hong Su added something. Can you read my text? What is it? Well, I hope you found out that it is a toolbox and a card. Let me just see. People are saying wonderful project. Let's see if there's anything else. Sue says she can't do belly bands. No one but crafters know how to open them. So many times they just rip it open. Well, okay, say someone rips it open. It's not the end of the world. Our cards are not going to last forever. It's about the joy. Let them rip open something, I say. It's totally okay, right? Sue, there are other house cards out there. I think I've done one in the past. If you want one that's not quite as springy, it's going to have different, it's not going to have all those panels for putting paper, but if you want to do like a house card that would match the toolbox, I think I have a tutorial on my blog for one that's not quite as springy, so let me know if you would like that. All right. Let me see. All right, I didn't have any other questions, so I just want to thank you all for coming here today and watching my project. Let me know if you have any questions after the fact. I hope you're able to make this project, and I will be back next week on Tuesday and Friday with some new projects for you. Have a great weekend. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.